Good morning, everybody. This is Jon Kovach, host of the Circle of Knowledge podcast, president of Amplified Minds, and founder of the Champion Circle mastermind and networking events. I am grateful for this morning, this Friday morning, that I could come to you and provide with you some of the information we've been looking to share with our audience. This is very, very important information to us, and we think that everyone should hear from it. But most importantly, the Circle of Knowledge is about sharing knowledge. It's about eliciting the information that others have and giving it to the world so that they can take action on it. Remember, nothing we share on this show is without opinion and should be taken without action. You should always take action on everything we say. Otherwise, it's just information. It's just content. And therefore, it is not worth it. Honestly, I wouldn't listen to this if I wasn't going to take action myself, because in fact, this information is supposed to motivate and inspire individuals to achieve their dreams and their potential. So I, Jon Kovach Jr., am excited to present to you this morning. Now, on the days of the podcast, we roll every day, Monday through Friday, except for on holidays, major holidays. And when we don't have an interviewee or someone to talk to or someone to bring on the show, we have a number of books. You see over my right shoulder, if you are watching the live stream, that we have a lot of books that we can talk about. And we're going to get to all of them. But first, we're going to start with our bread and butter. You see, Amplified Minds has written a bunch of ebooks. And at Amplified Minds, we've written a bunch of ebooks to help people take action. And one of the books that we've written, and this is authored by Matt Fritchie and the Amplified Minds team, is called The Mindset of a Successful Seller. And what we did in this book is we took 6 or 7 of our favorite books on sales, books on selling, and we reviewed those books, and we picked out the most important pieces of knowledge that we want you to understand and use in your life. And I think that that's a really, really important piece and an important principle, because when you use knowledge and you take action on that knowledge, you find ways to grow. And it's incredible. So thank you for joining me today on the live hour of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. Today, we're going to be reviewing a book we like to call The Mindset of a Successful Seller. Now, if you're interested in downloading or reading this book yourself, you can go to amplifiedminds.com/mindset. Make sure that that's in the comment section. Again, it's www.amplifiedminds.com/mindset. You can download this book yourself for free and check it out. But we're going to be talking about some of the major principles of this book over the next long haul. I said that this is part 1 of part 6. There's actually 7 parts, but I lumped 2 together. And what we do is we take a principle of the book and we dive deep into it. We argue it. We mastermind about it. We brainstorm solutions and ideas and scenarios about it. And this only takes 15 minutes. It could go an hour. We don't really know. But what we do know is that the knowledge is something that you can take action on. So I'm excited to present this content, and I'm excited to do this. For those of you who join on our live hour, I want you to know how excited I am to have you join us on the Circle of Knowledge podcast. You see, we do a lot of things here at the Amplified Minds headquarters. We own multiple businesses. We own a merchant processing company owned by Ryan Fritchie. In that division, we also have a CBD, credit card processing division, where we help businesses in the hemp space, the CBD space, the marijuana space, and so forth. We also have a venture capital firm under our roof. We have an in-house legal team, the Aaron Owens and Hendricks legal team. We also have a marketing division. And then at the last, but not least, I would say is the Amplified Minds division, where we consult businesses and we help individuals become absolute authorities in their niche and in their industry and in their space. And the way we do that is through very, very intense and awesome and creative consultative patterns of helping you become the authority by putting you at the front of the room, in every scenario. And we get to that by sharing with you the tactics we use to build and generate incredible solutions for your business and for the people around you. And it's funny because what we teach is literally what we wrote. What we teach is literally what we wrote. And in this segment, I like to share with people what we like to help people do. So essentially with this, by listening to this podcast, you are getting free sales advice and you're getting free consultation. But take it as you, and as I said, the circle of knowledge, we only ask that if you listen to this content, that you take action on it. So I thank everyone for joining us, and I'll make some shout outs here at the end. So keep the comments rolling, and we really, really appreciate your support. But I'm going to dive right in and talk about our first principle today. The book we're going to jump into before we start anything is we like to talk about wealth. And I like to start my mornings out by doing this, going over the Millionaire booklet by Grant Cardone. It's something I keep in my desk, and I freaking love this book. Now I'm going to read from this book a quick segment, and you're going to find something in this that might lead you to action. Okay. But I want to set our mindset. Okay. Before we get into the book, chapter 1 of the mindset of a successful seller, I want to get our mindset into the right place. And Grant Cardone says in the Millionaire booklet, he says, you see, part of the problem is that most people get financial advice from people who are struggling with or who have given up on money. Most of the advice we get about money is from people close to us who either don't have money or have given up on it. Some of the people you get advice from have never even thought financial freedom was possible. You must look beyond the dumb advice of family, friends, television pundits, blogs, get-rich articles, cute quotes on Instagram, and silly little sayings. Look beyond all the noise and confusion about money, and you will discover a select group of people, I would say the 1% or 2% living amongst us, a select group of people who have created enormous wealth. I am talking about top percentile of the wealthiest people on the planet. Like magnets of wealth and prosperity, they appear to magically prosper no matter what happens, some doing better in bad times than good times. And we're absolutely seeing that right now with pandemic amongst us, amidst quarantine and really, really crazy atmospheres where we have to change our lifestyles. So keep that in mind. That should open up our mindset. Now, boom, moving in to the mindset of a successful seller. If you download this book, go check it out. We're going to be starting with the first principle, which is a book called Selling the Invisible by Harry Beckwith. Now, Selling the Invisible by Harry Beckwith is a very, very good read. It's one of our favorite sales books, and it's a really, really impressive principle on how you can improve your sales or how you can improve how you sell. And a lot of times people don't realize this, but the first principle we want to talk about in part 1 is that you're always selling. You're always selling, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're speaking to, you're selling. You represent your products. You represent the mission. You represent at least the culture and everywhere you go. I told a story on this show once about a friend of ours who we watched this happen on an airplane before we knew the person. We had to go and meet this person afterward and talk to them about what just happened. But we were sitting on an airplane, and on this airplane, a gentleman sits down next to a lady, and he begins to initiate conversation. This is how the conversation went. The gentleman turned to the lady and said, what do you do for work? And that's not we don't encourage that. We don't think that's the best opening line, but that's just how it went. He says, what do you do for work? And the lady continued to say, well, I own a consultation firm, and this is what we consult on. And the gentleman said, wow, by the sounds of what you say, you must be killing it. How does it feel to be killing it? And she kind of got awkward, and she said, you know what? I'm actually, I'm not. We were on the verge of bankruptcy. We're looking at a few things, but I think we're going to get over this hump. And he said, oh, that's surprising compared to what you just expressed to me. You had all this excitement and interest. Tell me more. What would make your consultation firm grow? And she said, well, honestly, we're missing a few things. And she began to list them. And he started to think about it. And he said, wow, well, let me tell you this. If I were to help you with all 3 things that you need, and we could guarantee that you could have results in, a few months, would that be helpful to you? And she said, well, yeah, duh. I'd even give up 10% of my business to help to have that happen. It's worth that much to me. Well, we don't know what happened next, but all of a sudden the lady took out a checkbook. She wrote a check for thousands of dollars and 10% of her company and handed it over to this gentleman. They shook hands and they began chatting like normal friends. And then beyond that, this person began to help that person with that business. Now, it's an interesting environment, right? We're on an airplane. There's always people talking. There's people who don't want to talk. There's people who do. There's people who just want to get through this airplane. This lady doing her normal thing. And this guy happened to listen. He happened to think about what strategically this person needs. And we're going to get into the book of the selling the invisible. But essentially the principle is you're always selling no matter where you're at. If you're on an airplane, if you're at the airport, if you're at a bus stop, if you're at your warehouse, you're selling something and you're selling a vision. Now, a lot of us are like, well, no, sales is a crummy, it's a slimy, it's a weird business. And I get it. Like some of these principles that we'll get into is helping people understand and not feel like they've been sold. But what you do is you take care of people. You take care of people. And sometimes we forget that. We forget that taking care of people is the mindset of a successful seller, not sales. Okay, there's a book over my shoulder we'll get into some other time called Sell or Be Sold by the same person we started off this hour with, Grant Cardone. And there are hundreds of tactics on sales. But the funny thing about it is, you guys, is no matter how many sales tactics you learn, no matter how many of them that you try to employ in your life or listed in your life, look, you're not going to get anywhere until you treat humans like humans. Like you help people do what is necessary and you help them get where they need to be. And so when he says, key point is you're always selling wherever you are, whomever you're speaking to, you're selling. You're representing your products, you're representing your mission, or at the least, a culture everywhere you go. So what are you selling? Are you selling a positive image? Now, a lot of you are like, well, my life is in shambles right now, and I don't want to be selling something that's fake. I don't want to be lying to people. And look, I get it, man, but that's not what we're saying here. We're saying you're representing something. On my live hour show that we do every day at 12 o'clock Mountain Time, that's noon, 12 p.m. Mountain Time. You see, what happens is when you talk about what you're working towards, right? In the example I just gave, the woman expressed that, yeah, they had a scare with bankruptcy, but they're on the rise and they're doing well. She was talking about the future. And to me, in that example, this lady sold the future. She sold the opportunity. She sold what she had been working towards. In my opinion, too, she also sold that she saved her business. They were on the verge of bankruptcy, but now they're on the up. They're doing better. And because of that, they found prosperity. They found an opportunity. And this gentleman was able to help her. It wasn't let me take your credit card now and let's figure out how to get you set up, right? All those filler words and phrases you get with online salesmen or over-the-phone salespersons, right? Anytime you get customer service, it's that conversation. How many times have you guys had a conversation with a human being, realized you spent $400 or $500 and it didn't even matter because you were being served and you were you loved working with that person or that individual? Am I right? Like selling is not selling when you don't make it selling. Selling is being you. You're always selling a mission. You're always selling your products, or you're always selling culture. And in my opinion, you're selling personality. You're selling outcomes. And so that's principle number one of Selling the Invisible by Harry Beckwith. And now I want to dive a little bit deeper into this before we kind of get over this hump and talk a little bit less about the principle of the book and get into it. There's one thing I'm going to challenge. Okay, we do a lot of challenging on this show, and obviously I am not yet. I am not yet a millionaire. Okay, I just want to be clear with you, everybody. But I am not yet a millionaire, and I'm sure Harry Beckwith is. Okay, he's a published author. This has been a best-selling book for the longest time, an incredible option to read. But in this book, he says, you're always selling everywhere you go. And then we get into the principle of selling culture. And I want to challenge that, because where I live in a world where I get pitched every week by multi-level marketing companies, and there's nothing wrong with multi-level marketing companies. There's nothing wrong with network marketing. There is nothing wrong with having multiple levels of income, or multiple streams of income, or multiple ways to sell products to people. All of our partners, and I'm openly admitting this, all of our partners are people who offer services who will help our audiences that we choose strategically to place in front of people. That's what we do. Okay. We are literally marketing to our network based on the partnerships we've created and the services we believe in. Incredible. And in the comment section, someone just wrote, and I'll do some shout outs here later. So stick with me, you guys. We're almost done here. But someone said, diversify your income, ! Diversify everything, right? But in the mindset of sales, also diversify who you are. Diversify how you treat people. Diversify your strategies and tactics. This gentleman on the airplane turned to the lady and the individual, and without any leading intent, just asked, tell me what you do for work. And then he complimented her. Well, by the sounds of it, it sounds like you're killing it. It sounds like you're doing really well. How does that feel? What's that like? And she said, well, honestly, I'm not killing it. And he said, well, tell me more about it. What's going on? And she told him, and he listened. And because he listened, he knew exactly what she needed to get over the hump. And within a matter of minutes, she's writing thousands of dollars on a check, and she's creating solutions for this for herself because somebody was listening. All right. Now, this isn't Ken Garff Automobiles sales, and they say, here, we hear you, or we listen. They don't. I've been there. I fell for that advertisement. I walked over there, and the same old salesman just tried to sell me that Honda Civic when I wanted, my Land Rover or whatever. Like it doesn't go that way. Like I don't get it. But I want to challenge that idea that you're selling a culture. The multi-level marketing company industry, the multi-level marketing industry will oftentimes sell a culture. Oh man, you're going to have a team. Oh, you're going to have a business. Oh, it's going to be so good for you. Oh, you're going to love the culture. You're going to love the people. You're going to love the environment. Look, I don't give a crap. Like culture is great, but if I'm working from my own office and I have zero interaction with people, I just want to know that I'm going to have a really, really good customer service line that I can direct people to when I'm not available. That's all I care about. But culture, you guys, try selling your home culture. Try selling the culture at your house. Well, when I get home, I take my dogs on a 2-mile walk. I fix up dinner and I do the dishes. We turn all television and all phones off by 8 p.m. We converse in conversation over, hot drinks and dessert, or we sit around and do puzzles. We do board games. That's our culture at our house. We're in bed by 10 o'clock or 10:30 at the latest. I'm usually reading books or sharing ideas or hanging out with my wife between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Like I'm trying to sell you something that's not exciting. Like that's just my life. That's my culture. Now I could sell you the mindset. I could sell you the information. I can sell you the tactics. I can sell you the strategy or the scheduling, right? There's a part of this book and this book that talks about, the schedule of a successful seller or the schedule of a millionaire. And because of all that, I call bull crap out on the idea of selling culture. Stop selling culture. But what I will say is that I understand the principle of the book. And I will say that I understand that even by not communicating, you're communicating. And when you're not communicating, you're communicating a culture. You're communicating a particular style of communication, right? That's a lot of communicating. But when I put on my RBF face, right, my resting bitch face, when I put on my RBF and I go out in public with my ball cap and I don't smile at anyone and I just do my thing, I'm selling a culture. I'm selling an angry gentleman culture. That's what I do, right? So I get that. I get that principle. But when I interact with people, like that and I don't smile and I'm just a jerk, or I'm wearing my ball cap and looking like a schmug, nothing wrong with ball caps, right? But when I do that, I am selling a culture inadvertently. So just remember that there's challenges, pros and cons, and opposition in all things. But I agree with this. I agree with the statement and I disagree with the statement. So I think that it's important for all of us to recognize that you're always selling. And because of that, think about it openly. What are you selling? Are you selling an image? Are you selling something that's good? Are you selling something that's positive? Are you selling something that's going to give you strength? Are you selling something that's going to lead others to take action? That's what we always talk about. I think that's good enough for today's principle number 1. I have 5 more principles I'd like to get into, and we'll do that over the course of the next few weeks, as there are a lot of people who are bringing on the show. Let me just kind of bring up on my calendar here who we can look forward to the next week. On Tuesday, we're going to be interviewing Barbara Ellison. She's an incredible coach and speaker. On Wednesday, we're going to be talking to Schaff with, and I think I spelled his name wrong, but Schaff, and he's an awesome person who has an incredible story, and he wants to share some golden nuggets about some of his life experiences. But this is going to be a fun one because he represents a group called Fundwise Partners, and he's an interesting dude. So I think that's awesome. On Thursday, we're going to be meeting with James Stevenson. And James Stevenson's a good friend of mine. And James wrote the book, Small Steps, Big Feet. And I'm excited to interview him again. This will be the second time I've had him on my show. And then next Friday, we're going to be talking with my good friend, an incredible professional who is highly, highly educated, my friend Neil Hooper. So there's some things to look forward to. And in the meantime, we're going to be going over the principles of this book, Selling the Invisible by Harry Beckwith. And in that meantime, we will go through these principles, and any questions you have, any comments, any suggestions you have for the show, please send me a direct message on social media. We do have a private page where we post all of our episodes. You can find us anywhere on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Radio Public is one of my favorites, and you can even download straight from the Anchor app or anchor.fm /circle of knowledge. There's dashes in between there, so if you want to look for that. But I'm grateful to share knowledge. Now, a challenge I issue to you today. Remember, we don't do anything but talk about knowledge and issue you challenges so that you can take action on this. My challenge is to evaluate. Write down today what you think you're selling, and then observe yourself throughout the day. Is that really what I'm selling? Am I selling the image of happiness? Am I selling joy? Am I selling CBD? Am I selling incredible products? Am I selling opportunities to overcome challenges? Am I selling a positive and encouraging consulting firm? What are you selling? And observe that, and then reevaluate. Easy peasy, right? Write it down. What do you think you're selling? And I want you to go throughout your day and observe what you actually sell and how you sell it. Self-awareness is one of the most key principles of being a successful seller. So there you go. Appreciate you guys. This has been an awesome show. I would love to jump in here and make a few shout outs to some people who were just listening, who popped right on in and have supported me and have supported our show. And I appreciate you all. A huge shout out to Tyson Coons. Tyson, amazing, man. You're jumping back and forth from show to show. I know he's been supporting and a huge contributor to this Utah CBD collective live hours. And he's just an awesome member, an incredible business owner, a very, very well-connected individual. And I want to make a huge shout out as he's given me the hang loose thumbs up emojis in our comment section. So Tyson, I appreciate you. You're an awesome individual. And I can't wait to spend more time with you. The next person I'd like to make a shout out to is TJ Menlove in the house. He says, good morning, my friend. And TJ, I appreciate you. You're an awesome individual. And anyone who should be teaching this other than me should be TJ, because TJ has a wealth of knowledge about connecting with people and being a successful salesperson. He has experience in doing that in very, very, very many areas. And in fact, the person I told the story about is not TJ, but the person who was in the story I told on this episode reminds me of TJ, because they're always selling and they're always keeping their thoughts positive and working towards helping people. TJ, huge shout out to you, my friend. Another shout out to a person who was in the audience today was Tyler and Lauren Cobb. Hello, Lauren. I know that you said it was mostly you, but with the comment section, I see Tyler and Lauren Cobb. She said today, she says, I love that. The key point is to treat humans like humans, not just a number. And I love working with these guys. If you guys ever want an incredible marketing and web development personnel, someone who you can trust and someone who you can have work on your website and work on your logos and work on everything you need for your creative side of your business, they're incredible at that. And I wanted to also make a shout out to Brian K. Wright, who we had on the show just this last week, an incredible author, an awesome professional, and someone I look forward to doing business with. And then with that, everyone, I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody. And then I want to just make another shout out. Tyson actually wrote my challenge down, and let's reiterate the challenge. Challenge of the day: write down what you think you are selling, then reevaluate, have some self-awareness. Boom. Love it. This has been another episode of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I want to say thank you. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. This is the Memorial Day weekend. I know we're about to head out of town and go watch or be in nature and watch the beautiful sunsets and sunrises of one of our favorite locations, which is disclosed and unknown to mankind. We will not tell it or share it with anyone because we keep it sacred and safe. But do know that we do have people who will be taking care of us in the event that we go missing. So love you all. Appreciate you all. Looking forward to more opportunities to share knowledge. And remember, don't take this knowledge and walk away. Take this knowledge and then take massive action. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.